Hi there, Joe Rickard here, Region Agronomist for Winfield United, and welcome to this episode of I Must Stash You a Question. Today's guest is Sales Agronomist Extraordinaire from Heritage Cooperative, Bruce Fitzsimmons. How are you today, Bruce?
I'm good, Joe. Nice to be with you.
Good to see you, good to see you. So what's on your mind here for today?
Well, Joe, I've had some conversations with some growers that are trying to push the envelope a little bit on wheat production. And wanted to get your thoughts on what we could do to maybe push that bar up a little bit, try to get a little bit more yield, a little better straw quality, a little better overall crop.
Okay. So we take a look, when I think about high yielding wheat, we want to hit that 100 bushel mark. So that's ultimately what we're aiming for. Ultimately, we want to set some of our goals pretty high. So when I think about that high yielding wheat, I think about fungicides. You're probably making one fungicide application right now with some of those growers?
We are. We're heavily using Prosaro for scab control at that Feeks 10.5 stage. And that's become pretty commonplace. But we're looking to go a little bit beyond that.
Yep.
What would you say?
Yeah, so when we look, how do we protect against some of those earlier diseases? Powdery mildew really comes to mind in our end of the world that we're in Ohio. I think about products like ProtoGam yield, Stratego yield, Delaro, being applied between that Feeks 6 to 8 time frame, right as we get into that flag leaf. Somewhere around in there is that first shot of fungicide, and then you're exactly right. That kind of like we do in corn, that yield limiting most factor there at that Feeks heading or tassel time frame we look at in corn, that Feeks 10.51 with that Prosaro application.
Okay.
What are some other products that you're thinking about, or maybe some other management strategies that you're looking at for that?
Well, a few growers have hit me up about standability issues. They've got some productive fields that always tend to produce some wheat that goes down. What can we do as a management strategy to help keep that wheat standing up so it's harvestable and good quality?
And some of those acres usually have a manure application on it.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So when we look at we've got a lot of stem elongation on this wheat crop now. Okay, good if we can make the straw that good for straw production, but lodging tends to occur for that. There's a product from Syngenta that is called Palisade, and it actually is a plant growth regulator. It's similar products, actives that are in our Ascend product, but it works in the opposite way. It's got gibberellic acid that actually retards the stem elongation to lower that crop so we don't see that lodging. That's an excellent product that you can use to shorten up some of those internodes that we look at on that wheat crop.
And when you say shorten internodes, I mean, how drastically does it shorten the crop? Because straw production is important to us here in the East. We don't want to necessarily limit that.
Yeah, it's exactly right, and it kind of feeds into the variety that we have, and also the weather that we're going to have within that. As far as what's the growth cycle of that wheat, are we getting a lot of this spring right now in 2021 is shaping up to be a really good spring. Fingers crossed that we could see some dramatic shortening of those internodes there with that growth.
Okay.
So there's some other. Are you addressing some insects within these applications that you're using?
Yeah. Cereal leaf beetle has been at times an issue.
Yeah. So we look at a product that we look at. You're probably using Grizzly 2 for that, or
we do. We like to use Grizzly 2 quite a bit in the wheat for that purpose, and that has worked well.
Good. So as we look, we've got a couple different options, 3 different avenues as you look at a fungicide application, possibly shorten that internode length that you're going to look at, and then controlling the insects that we look at. So we've got that season-long protection as we're going to go make different applications to go in through. Anything else on your mind as you're looking at this?
Well, when it comes to adjuvants, whether we're making these applications by air or by ground, what would you recommend?
Yeah, so when we look at our products, we're going to have a fungicide mostly in these mixes, whether they be early or later time frame at that Feeks heading time frame. We're going to look at that master lock application with our fungicide. If we had something with just a herbicide going out there with water, we'd probably look at our interlock product there, but with the fungicide, I'd probably recommend that 6.4 ounces of master locking with that mix.
Okay.
So
Very good.
So as we come to the end of this episode, the stashes stance, and taking a look at if we've got that fungicide in there, we want to use the Master Lock adjuvant. High yielding wheat, it's a component of a lot of different things stacked together. It's not just one thing that makes that high yield or that 100 bushel mark that we're setting the goal for. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Have a good day.